in that class is where I learned about open and closed loop control systems. I learned about visual proprioception, how you actually aim and how you don't have to put consciousness into an aim. And
let's explain open and closed loop systems.
So open and closed loop. So open loop is where it's a control system in your mind that governs your movements. And open loop is where your mind wants to go because it's efficient, it's smooth, it's automatic, right? So when you first learn a movement, you may learn it in steps, and it's very choppy, and you have to think about each specific motor program that you're doing. But then you eventually put that into a package through practice, right? So we go from the cognitive stage of learning to practice stage with the goal of becoming automatic. And that's where people they do the same thing with shooting. But in shooting, the only thing you're getting more efficient at is bracing you for recoil. You're not getting more accurate. I mean, there's 80-year-old dudes that come into my class that have been doing it this way for 70 years, and they just get worse, right? Archery is shooting is one of the only things, the more you do it, the worse you get, especially in archery.
If you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. If you just follow the natural path of the human mind in learning, you're going to get worse. Because you're going to get more efficient. Your subconscious thinks you're getting better because you're getting better at bracing for impact. That's what it's built for. But consciously, we know, like, I didn't control that one. And then it's like, well, I control about 50% of them, right? And then it just gets worse and worse. So your mind open loop means your brain, Huberman's going to kill me for this because this is so simplistic, right? And I'm sure he gets way into this, but open loop is your brain sends a motor program to the effector. The effector is just the muscle group that receives it. So in that, the muscle group or the motor program is usually too fast for you to gain feedback in it, like shooting a basketball, swinging a golf club, right? Those are all movements that have to be smooth to keep the totality of the movement going. But in shooting, if you use open loop for the trigger, it's too fast, and you're not doing anything to mitigate all the other muscle contractions that are coming in to brace you for impact, right? So it's the flinch, it's all that stuff that gets put in there. And so that's open loop. That's where your mind wants to go. It's the default. If you don't think about something, you're going open loop. Like when people black out and stuff, they go super efficient on the trigger. They don't remember what happened because it was a negative event, and it was all subconsciously driven. Now, closed loop is a movement that's slow enough you could stop it anywhere within it, right? There's a certain speed at which you can gain the feedback that you need to, say like in the signature test, or if you're pressing a trigger, right? Or if you're working your hinge, you're working that thing slow enough and you're concentrating on the movement and you're working it slow enough, you could stop it anywhere within it. And that just doesn't happen. It has to be decided upon, right? And that's the big kicker. That's where people try to jump over the problem, because you have to decide if you're doing a movement that's going to cause an explosion and you're trying to do it slow enough you could stop it, that will never just find you. You have to concentrate on that movement. So you got to know, how do you concentrate, right? Well, you got to talk yourself through it. And you got to know what decisions you need to make at what moments in the shot, because there are moments in the shot when autopilot is going to try to take it, right? And that's what happened to me for 13 years in my bow hunting career. From 14 to 27, I was going completely automatic, right? I was so engulfed in trying to kill that critter or aiming good or whatever it may be. My mind was never in the movement that it needed to be. So that's the difference between open and closed loop. And when that guy told me what you're doing works, but it's not right, he taught me about open and closed loop control systems. But what he never taught me, and what I noticed from all the textbooks and all the stuff that we did, it had never really been put into shooting.